Are your work habits sabotaging your productivity? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 8 work habits that can sabotage your productivity and how to improve them so you can get more improved time management. Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Aquino, and I help teach the next generation. So over the years, I've kind of trialed and errored and tested multiple different habits and kind of figured out which ones have negatively impacted me in the past when it comes to trying to improve my productivity, because I know, as a lot of you may kind of relate to, you want to get a lot of things done to kind of improve your standing in terms of business, your entrepreneurship journey, your life in general. Like, there's a lot of things you want to do to improve, but there are things that are constantly going to hold you back. And there's everyday habits that come up that you still do, that I still do, that kind of hinder us both. So by the end of this video, I want to make sure that we kind of figure out what those are and what can we do to avoid and boost efficiency and productivity, because in the long run, that's kind of what you want. So we're going to go over things like procrastination, frequent interruptions, and more along the lines of that. This is stuff that you do every day that interrupts your daily workflow. If you're working a 9 to 5, things that interrupt that. If you're someone like me who kind of sits in his office and does work, well, these things can also impact you negatively as well. So I just wanted to go over these, give tangible tips, and go from there. So let's start off with one that I feel everyone has done at least once in their life. And if you haven't, how? Is procrastination. Procrastination, at some point, everyone's done. And I've been personally at fault to doing it way too much in the past. High school, college, up until a couple of semesters ago. But for work specifically, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. So I have different, deadlines and stuff. I don't have a set deadline. I don't have a set time. I could do work whenever on whatever I want, pretty much. But that's also a bad thing, because there's no one telling me, with that mindset, there's no one telling you what to do. You kind of have to set your own timelines and stuff. So I remember when I was first starting my journey, a lot of stuff was getting pushed back. A lot of stuff was getting pushed down even more and more. Not because I didn't want to do the work, but because there was no set time limit, no set deadline. So stuff was getting delayed and stuff was getting procrastinated. So what also didn't help was the amount of projects, and the size of them wasn't helping. So you may have big projects that you have to do, big tasks that have to get done. So what I would recommend is breaking down those big tasks into small little baby tasks. So for example, if you have a 30-page essay, right? This is the example I like to give. You have a 30-page essay, you have 30 days to do it. What makes more sense? Doing it all the day before, or doing 1 page a day over 30 days? I'll tell you which one I did. I did the 10-hour one. You know how that one did? I got a barely passing grade. On this one, I got like a 90 something on it. And the difference was this one had immense pressure, immense stress, because I procrastinated because, I have a whole month to do it. I'll just do it on the last day. Haha, idiot. And then we have this guy over here who was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be a smart guy. I'm gonna be the Giga Chad of essay writing. And yeah, it was so easy. 1 page a day, I was done in like 15 minutes because I feel like I'm pretty good at writing. I moved on. Like, procrastination is very hard to overcome, but I have felt this analogy and, thinking of it in that manner has kind of how do I explain it? It's kind of just lessened how often I procrastinate nowadays. If I procrastinate, it's because I'm sick, I'm down bad, I'm gone. Like, otherwise, I don't really procrastinate as often because I just think okay, this thing is too big then. So I'll just make it smaller. Don't take that out of context. Anyway, the next one that can interrupt your workflow is frequent interruptions, funny enough. So phone calls, emails, people coming into your cubicle or room or office, they can seriously mess up your flow and focus. There have been so many times where I've been working, me and my business partner, in the, organizing books, scanning books and all that stuff. And so many people would come up to us, kind of, because they're curious, trying to understand why there's 2 guys in a thrift store kind of scanning books, or why there's 2 guys in a library, trying to figure out what they're doing, because it's a rarity nowadays. And while we would be, we're more than happy to kind of explain what we do, because we have no issues, kind of spreading the secrets of reselling and all that, because really, like, it's all that stuff is on the internet. You can figure it out. It's not that hard. So we're not like other resellers, like, no, I'm not going to tell you anything. No. we'll spill the beans. Like there's no real negative. What that would do is that would distract us, so it would take us time to get back into the flow. And when you're out doing work, if you're not in flow, it really takes a while to get back into it. So it would take us maybe 15-20 minutes to get back into the flow to really start going at it again. And over time that adds up. I would say if you're able to, try and kind of block yourself off for a specific time, meaning like no emails, no calls, no text, nothing can reach you. I believe there's something on iPhone, I know. Downtime, you can have it, one of the settings, you can have it so during downtime, only specific contacts can text you. Otherwise, you don't receive notifications, and the phone doesn't even let you see them until you're out of downtime. So that one I would definitely give a shot, because I actually recently did that and it has really helped kind of block off all of the unnecessary emails and messages that I get. So definitely recommend trying out downtime on your phone. I think it's on screen time. So definitely check that one out. Fantastic one. So another thing that can really hinder your progress is if you fail to prioritize tasks. So I remember, there's so many things that have to get done, but you're not experienced enough to understand what's the highest and what's the lowest priority. So you kind of just do everything and assume everything is high priority, but that's just not the way the world works. What I would say, this one's pretty easy to understand, is you need to figure out what the hardest, highest priority work is, and make sure you're working on that instead of the menial, busy work that's just not as important. I know that, and I probably would recommend, if you don't know, and you have no clue what the tasks are, I would do the Eisenhower matrix. I've done a video on this before, where you kind of divide every single task you do into urgent, and that the categories urgent, important, urgent, non-important, important, non-urgent, and not important and not urgent. And you kind of go from there. And I did that to kind of see where I'm at right now. It's definitely kind of made this a lot easier to understand and kind of visualize. So these are the things that really do matter and give me the most results for what I do. And these things over here, they can get in the bin because these things don't matter, and so on and so forth. So if you don't know what your priority should be, I would recommend the Eisenhower matrix. But if you do know like what the highest priority is, I would definitely recommend working on that instead of all the busy work. If you have to do busy work, try and put it off at the end of the day. So the concept I'm talking about here is the eat the frog concept, where you do the hardest work first thing, and then as the day goes on, the work gets easier and easier, instead of doing the easiest work first and the hardest work last. It's never worked that well for me personally. It might work for you, but for me personally, it didn't work. Just to make it easy for most of you, do the hardest first, then do the easiest last, if that makes sense. So these next two kind of go hand in hand, which is lack of planning and disorganization. If you don't have a plan of the day or of the week, or kind of a rough outline of what you're gonna do, you're gonna really struggle. And I would know, because I lived most of my life without, a set plan, a set routine, a set calendar. And what I found is life sucked. Life was horrendously chaotic with those when I think back on it, because I would do random stuff at random points of the day, at random cutoff points, and do it at any time, which sure sounds good in theory. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, at any point in the day. What ended up happening is it'd be like midnight and I'm doing work. I'm like, wait, what? How did this happen? It doesn't work. And what also didn't help was being disorganized. My room was always messy. Workstation was always messy. Everything was usually always messy. I've definitely improved, the cleanliness and for right now, the workspace that I'm at is always clean. I always make sure there's barely anything on this, so I'm not distracted and looking at other things. I try to make sure my room is also organized so that my thought process isn't focused on, oh shit, I gotta clean my room. Oh fuck, I gotta clean my room. Oh shit, I gotta clean my room, to just focusing on the work. So to kind of help with both of these, you want to try and set the easy way to kind of start this habit of having a daily plan is kind of map out the times you eat and then kind of fill in the gaps. So what I did, so I have my calendar tell me to start off what time I go to sleep and wake up, time I have breakfast, lunch, dinner, or however many times you eat in a day. You may eat more, you may eat less, and the time that I do my gym or my hobbies, and then kind of fill in the rest of the time with work. So I would, instead of having to fill an entire day, I would just have to fill 6 to 8 hours of work that I have to do, but I can kind of designate what I want to do at those points instead of randomly figuring out at any point in the day I could do this. Like, it doesn't work, unfortunately. I kind of wish it did, because you kind of do shit whenever, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. And then for this organization, just try to improve your cleanliness, your station, your room, kind of improve. Make sure you know what you're doing, you know where everything is, so you're not spending extra time doing things that, you could have avoided had you been organized. I know I've been messy and it's cost me hours, so I'm trying to be better on that front. Something I wish existed and worked beautifully, but unfortunately doesn't, is multitasking. I know a lot of us have tried the multitask, doing 2, 3, 4, or even more things at the same time, and it really does not work. Oh man, it really doesn't work. I really want it to work though, but it doesn't work. For this one, it's pretty simple. If you multitask, you have lower quality of results and you kind of waste your time, in the sense of, because it's lower quality, you have to do it again. I've found that I've done that multiple times where I created, a document and I put work on it and it doesn't look great. I'm like, well, I gotta do it again, and I have to waste more time redoing it. Instead, this one's pretty simple. Just focus on one task at a time and just do that until it's done, or until your goal is set for the day. Just focus on one thing. It's a lot easier. I've definitely felt more progress has been made because I only focus on one thing instead of focusing on 17 different items at the same time. It's pretty simple. Focus on one, not on 17 different things. So this next one is one that I actually wasn't super aware of until I kind of started researching and understanding and reflecting. And it's being more proactive than reactive when it comes to your work. So when I first started business, stuff came up out of nowhere and then I would fix it. And then another issue would come up and then I would fix it. And another problem would come up and I would fix it. Same when I was working. An issue would come up and I would deal with it, but another problem would come up and I would deal with it. And another problem would come up and it would just keep happening. So instead of focusing on improving the work, improving the revenue, improving whatever I was working on, I would be focused too much to things that just come up randomly and I would have to fix. And then another problem would come up and I would have to fix. And the thing that I wanted to work on would just get put off more and more and more. Instead, what I would recommend is to kind of have things in place for stuff that comes up. Now, it's really hard to come up for every tiny little thing that could happen, but I would say general things that would happen, kind of figure out a base plan of like, okay, so if this thing somehow happens, all right? So if this negative thing happens, this is kind of what we're supposed to do. If this thing happens, this is kind of what we're supposed to do. It's kind of that framework. If this happens, this is what we do, kind of deal. It definitely helps mitigate the amount of time investment you have to put into issues that may come up. I know that I recently did this where I had a big problem with my pricings and books were getting sold at such a low rank and such a low price. I had to immediately, go into fixing it. But instead of it taking hours, because I had set in stone some protocols, it was very easy to fix and it was a very easy problem to fix. And I got it fixed in like 3 minutes. So have some protocols, have some things in mind where if something comes up that you feel is common, you know how to fix it because you have it somewhere. And finally, avoiding difficult tasks. Now, when it comes to avoiding difficult tasks, I don't mean, oh my God, this thing is so difficult. Oh my God, this thing's so hard. I can't, there's no way. I mean, avoiding it intentionally in terms of, oh, that thing is really goddamn hard. I'll do it later. You will not. You will not. No, you won't, because I didn't. And it's very annoying because that leads to procrastination and then a buildup of work. And then over time, you'll see, oh shit, I got so much to do in like 2 days. And you'll wonder, what happened? Why did I put this off? Well, to put it simply, your brain sees work that is really difficult as important of a threat as a bear attack or a shark attack. Now, you may be mad at your brain for that, and I am too, but it's just the way the brain works. Again, you want to break down stuff into smaller tasks. It's kind of similar to procrastination, but in the sense of if you see a big task or big project that needs to get done, break it down. Because if you leave it as that big task, you're going to avoid it. There have been times where, I don't know, I think it was a month ago, I had like 10 videos to record that I wanted to, but I saw the number 10 and went, oh shit, that's a big number. That's double digit. Ooh, let me not do that. And I didn't record for like a week. Instead, I broke it down to like 3 videos a day, and I did do it. So break it down. Break it down. It's a lot easier to do, smaller than grande. You know what I mean? So in the end, if you recognize and address these habits that everyone does at some point, you'll be able to save a lot of time and productivity, and it'll be able to compound and eventually be to new levels of improvement or revenue or whatever your success measurement may be. And it's going to be great, but it is going to take time. It's going to take optimizations, and you're going to have to find that balance, and it's going to take some time to do that. But once it does happen, man, does it feel great when you have everything kind of down and very smooth. It is a fantastic feeling that I honestly wish more people would have, because dude, it feels great when you know everything is going smoothly, and if something does go wrong, it can be very smoothly altered back into normalcy in terms of business and such. So if you found these tips helpful, you definitely want to check out my other video on how to manage your time more effectively, and that one I go over more techniques and such to go and manage your time better and more efficiently. If you want to say goodbye to stress and take control of your time again, check the links down below in the description.